I had no breadcrumbs strewn that I can follow the path. So I had to break my own path because there was no one there as a woman before me. There were two Black men, of course. There was Lincoln Alexander and Howard McCurdy, but they had gone before I arrived, and I had no knowledge about or no inkling as to how I could conduct myself, what I should or shouldn't do. And so having been an school administrator, having been head of Metro Housing, having held responsible positions, I knew what the world was like, what the corporate world was like. But in the Parliament of Canada, with all its history and traditions and procedures and ways in which things need to be done, I had to learn all of that, and I had to conduct myself in such a way, because I quickly found out that all eyes across the country were looking at me. Every Black family across the country who were following politics thought that they had sent me to Ottawa and that I was going to Ottawa to represent not only myself or the constituents who voted for me, but I was there to represent all Black people in Canada. And that became, oh my God, how can I do that?
The pressure, did you ever feel, was it isolating in at times where you felt alone?
No, I never felt isolated. I never felt alone. And there is a word that's being used now in, how we nuance language and we bring things along. We use the word now, ally. In those days, we didn't use the word ally. I look for friends and I look for people who had the same kind of sympathies towards certain kind of issues. Mm-hmm. And so I worked always, and all my work and all of the accomplishments have always been through a team, through a supportive group, through working with others. And so I looked around to see who knew what, who felt what, people who had done work with international development agencies and knew Africa and knew the Caribbean, who, when I wanted to put something together on microcredit, looked to see which MPs had some empathy. When I wanted to do some things around reproductive health, I looked to see what women or men who were interested in that topic to bring them together. And so I always kind of worked with others, find others. So I had no kind of lonely spot. And even when there were things that concerned the Black community, I found other, as they would say today, allies.
You've changed the landscape and you've kind of opened doors, not only for Black women and Black politicians, but also women in general. Looking at the state of politics now, often a conversation we have is we still have a long ways to go when it comes to representation. Do you think that we've come a long way, and where do you kind of see where we need to have a kind of more improvements?
Well, we've come a long way in terms of the representation of women. I tell the story that in 1970, there was just one woman. I have a daughter who was born in 1970. And there was just one woman in Parliament at the time. And we don't have a critical mass right now, but we do have a fair representation of women in the Parliament of Canada. In terms of Black women, you can count the fingers of maybe one hand, the number of Black women who've gotten into the Parliament of Canada. So however the discussion goes, we still have to encourage, we still have to support, we still have to mentor, and we still have to make sure that we have Black women who would get out there, who would present themselves. Look at Miss Lewis, what she did in terms of the conservative, Federal Conservative Party, or the head of the NDP, moving forward in terms of leadership and in terms of political leadership, and the fact that they can show the Canadians that they can make a difference. And this is why I support the funding, and I support my my involvement with Operation Black Vote Canada. And that organization is really looking at encouraging, mentoring, and supporting Black people, but Black women in particular, to enter that arena and to not only to prepare themselves, but also to make sure that they have success.
How groundbreaking was it to watch Kamala Harris being sworn in?
Oh my goodness, yesterday I was all teary-eyed. Just watching her, I was all teary-eyed. That she was the 49th vice president in the United States, and that she would be the vice president. She would be the first who is a woman. And not only that she's a woman, but she's a woman of color.
What does the month of February mean to you now and today in 2021?
Well, someone jokingly said to me a while ago, I'm not too sure if he was joking, but I took it jokingly. He said, so Ms. Augustine, you give us the shortest month of the year and the coldest month of the year to celebrate Black history. And I said to him, you know, Black history started in the United States. Black history is acknowledged as the brainchild of Carter G. Woodson. And therefore, to have the United States celebrate Black History Month in February, and here we in Canada, we celebrating it another month. So it was really associating the fact that they're celebrating it in February, which is just south of us, our neighbors, and that we would celebrate also in February. So that was how I came about, you know, asking for February as Black History Month, because it is Black History Month in the United States and Black History Month in Canada. I am concerned when I see Black History Month. I went somewhere last year or the year before where they were celebrating Black History Month. And as I walked in, the whole place was decorated with beautiful posters, but they were all Americans, you know? And I went to each one of them. I said, we have our own Muhammad Ali. We have our own, in Canada, our heroes and heroines, and people who have excelled in all kinds of fields, you know, from medicine to, you know, to philosophy, to music and entertainment and whatnot. And so we need to have our young people know that history rather than always looking to the South for that mentorship and that role model.
And celebrate our Black Canadian heroes.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Who are some notable ones that you think people should really get to know and celebrate this month? Some of your favorites.
Well, there are so many of them who've made contribution that we look towards. There are so many of them that now the system, when I say the system, I am talking about school boards and other institutions are beginning to amplify. So for example, we have the $10 bill that was done. We have parks that are named. We have
your school.
Yes,
named after you.
We have schools that are named. We have streets that are now being named, and there is an effort by the Ontario Heritage to put plaques in various historical places, etc. We are also in history departments now, they're looking at, you know, people like the Oscar Petersons who've made international, we have people who've made international recognition should be given. And therefore, as Canada, we should know who these people are. Of course, our athletes, we know, feature in various international and world sporting activities. Our entertainers are well known, not only here in Canada, are known around the world. And so, you know, our young people know their names simply because of their music or their entertainment or their role in film. We have filmmakers who are doing excellent, you know, whose work is world renowned. And at the same time, we have some women, young women, who are breaking into the field of engineering and STEM programs and all of this. So I think we just have to seek out, who these people are.
Jean Augustine, what do you want to tell people as we head into Black History Month?
As we head into Black History Month, I think it's important for all of us to examine our own prejudices, to examine our own relationships, to ask ourselves, are we allies to ensuring that others are full participant in everything in the society, in the workplace, in the ceremonies, and in everything that happens in the society. I think 25 years since Black History Month would have also produced a number of things in the entertainment field, films and books and stories. And so I would ask that we all read something, support something, get ourselves really well informed so that we don't ask of Black people some of those questions that we used to ask, and that we see each other as Canadians in a just and fair society, and that we include everyone. So this is my message. I think this COVID time has underscored that for me.
Well said. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me.
Thank you.
Such an honor. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.